Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system?
Geofence warrant in plain terms.
He pulled out a picture of my truck and accused me of stealing a package.
You were violating mine and everyone else's Fourth Amendment right.
You might feel like you're safe at home right now, but your phone probably knows better. And just the amount of time that it took for that opening line, data about your location has likely been pinged and logged. And it's not just your phone. That camera on the street corner, it isn't just for traffic. It could be part of a network that tracks cars across huge regions. But it gets even deeper. There are now warrants that don't just target one person, they can target every single device in a given area, turning your digital life into an open book. Here's how they do it.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Now let's get one thing straight. The world you're living in isn't the same one as 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. The whole idea of privacy has been pretty much broken by technology that's moving way faster than the law. America might not officially be a surveillance state, but the regular warrantless use of advanced tech by law enforcement has created a reality that sure feels like one. It often starts with something called a geofencing warrant.
Geofence warrant in plain terms. It's a location-based request to tech companies asking which devices were in a specific place at a specific time. Think of it as a reverse search of phones, not names.
These warrants raise Fourth Amendment issues. Investigators generally must show probable cause the crime occurred in that area.
Okay, so let's get this straight. A crime happens, and instead of looking for a specific suspect, police can now go to Google and ask for a list of every device that was inside a certain area, a certain radius during a certain time window. Suddenly you and your neighbors and anyone who just happened to be walking by or in the neighborhood is now part of a digital lineup. They haven't done anything wrong, you haven't done anything wrong, but your data is getting searched anyway. But isn't this a violation of our constitutional rights? That's a great question. Just this year, in a huge step, Supreme Court ruled in the landmark case of Shattery versus United States.
The Supreme Court's recent ruling on geofence data falling under the Fourth Amendment and requiring a valid warrant may be what takes down flock cameras. In Virginia in 2019, there was a robbery, and the police had acquired a geofence warrant to perform a dragnet, which would acquire the phone data of everyone within about several football fields around that robbery location at the time of the robbery. They then found the robber, and that robber then went into court and said, "You were violating mine and everyone else's Fourth Amendment right because you grabbed their location data." The courts themselves were split on whether it falls under the Fourth Amendment right, but they ultimately settled on allowing the evidence to proceed to prosecute the guy. It then went up to the Supreme Court, who recently made the decision that yes, it does fall under the Fourth Amendment right, and therefore requires a valid warrant.
But the court didn't ban the practice. It just now requires a little bit more legal scrutiny. So the door's still open. Then you have the physical world.
Have Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system? That is a flock safety camera. It's an artificial intelligence automated license plate reader. I've reported on Flock before, and if there's one thing people in the comments can agree on, it's their hatred of this. That's because at least 90,000 Flock cameras across 6,000 communities read over 20 billion plates per month. All that information then gets uploaded into a giant shared database which can be accessed by law enforcement and government agencies. And no surprise, this raises a slew of issues. Like one Ohio man pulled over accused of stolen plates, attacked by police dogs, and jailed because Flock read the 7 on his plates as a 2.
You've seen those small, sleek cameras on poles all around town? A lot of them are from a company called Flock Safety. And they're automatic license plate readers, or ALPRs, and they form a massive surveillance network. Flock's cameras don't just grab your plate number, but they log your car's make, model, color, and even things like your bumper stickers. And they're creating a searchable map of your travels and investigations into this have shown that this kind of network has been used to track protesters and even suspected porch pirates.
A quiet Saturday afternoon last September, Denver resident Chrisanna Elser gets an alert from her doorbell camera. A nearby Columbine Valley police officer has come calling.
You know why I'm here?
No. He pulled out a picture of my truck and accused me of stealing a package.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Police-operated cameras had recorded her driving near the scene of the crime. Only problem, she had nothing to do with it.
They caught me 20 times driving through the neighborhood that we drive through to go to work every day.
Police had simply matched their video with doorbell footage of the theft, showing a blonde, like Elser.
Well, can I see this video?
If you go to court, you can. If you're going to deny it, I'm not going to extend you any courtesy. If you're going to lie to me, I'm not going to extend you any courtesy.
It was shocking to have somebody come in so strong and rely on the digital evidence.
In California, there's been a major public outcry over how this location data is being shared with out-of-state and federal agencies, and it's creating a huge surveillance web with very little oversight. In fact, LAPD recently let its contract with Flock expire over these exact same concerns.
Well, this contract's not being renewed because of serious concerns around civil liberty and civil rights issues, particularly around privacy and the data that's being collected from these cameras. So the LAPD had to make a difficult decision of continuing, in this case, discontinuing using Flock services until we can get those data, privacy, security, and sharing concerns ironed out through a contractual relationship.
And this isn't really about targeting a specific criminal. It's about collecting massive amounts of data where everyone becomes a person of interest. It's a system where companies collect your data and then sell it or give it to government agencies. This often bypasses the need of a warrant because the long-standing legal idea called the third-party doctrine, though recent court rulings like Shattery are starting to kind of challenge and chip away at that, the result is a pretty chilling reality. Your movements, both online and in the real world, are being recorded and analyzed. In Houston, people have had enough.
In two different parts of Houston, the same scene, surveillance cameras lying on the ground. Two near Memorial Park, two more near Washington Avenue and Westcott, all part of Flock Safety's automated license plate reader network used by Houston police and other law enforcement agencies. Houston police confirming an investigation into this. While the motive is unknown, the technology itself has drawn criticism in the past from people concerned about the data they're collecting.
If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, it's totally understandable. This complexity of all this is designed to make you feel powerless, but you aren't. Disappearing from geofence dragnets and ALPR networks doesn't mean that you have to go into a cabin off out in the woods and live off grid, right? It's not necessarily a time to bug out. It's about taking smart, practical steps to reclaim your privacy. And we're going to break that down into 3 areas, right? Securing your digital self, controlling your data trail, and minimizing your physical footprint. Step 1, to secure your digital identity. Start by swapping mainstream browsers and search engines for privacy-focused options like Brave or DuckDuckGo that don't track you. And then you compartmentalize your life. Use separate pseudonymous email addresses from services like Proton Mail for social media and online accounts, keeping your main email for official business only. This makes it harder for data brokers and investigators to link your online activity back to your real identity. Services like MySudo can even generate private email addresses, phone numbers, and virtual cards on the fly, further breaking up your digital footprint. Step 2. Next, control your data trail by encrypting your devices using built-in tools like BitLocker or FileVault. This protects your data if a device is seized. For communications, use end-to-end encrypted apps like Signal, which collect minimal metadata. Manage your digital keys with a password manager for unique passwords on every site, and secure important accounts with 2-factor authentication, preferably using an authenticator app or a physical key like YubiKey. Finally, use services like Incogni or Optree to automatically remove your personal information from data brokers, cutting off major source intel. By the way, we're not sponsored by any of these are just suggestions. Step 3, to minimize your physical footprint and to counter location tracking, you have to be deliberate. Your phone is a primary vector for geofence warrants. Placing it in a Faraday bag blocks its GPS, cell, and Wi-Fi signals, effectively making you invisible to the network. A shielded device cannot have its location logged, so it won't appear in a warrant's results. Turning off your phone completely is actually a less secure alternative. Airplane mode? Forget about it. You need a Faraday bag. Faraday bags can be found online in the form of purses, cell phones, backpacks, and a variety of other items. And to avoid automatic license plate readers like Flock, it's kind of harder, right? While I don't suggest the Houston alternative, one good piece of advice is to be mindful of your travel routes. If you take the same route every day, like Our Lady in Denver, you can be more easily targeted. Take different routes and drive at varied times whenever possible. Also, use cash instead of cards. That can sever the link between your identity and your location at a point of purchase, further obscuring your real-world movements and giving them less opportunity to be caught in a geofence. This whole architecture of surveillance is huge and it's intimidating, and it's built to make you think that fighting back is pointless, but it's not. Every single step that we've talked about here today is a brick in a foundation that you can lay in your own fortress of privacy. It starts with something simple, like changing your browser. It gets stronger whenever you encrypt your data, and it solidifies when you start using something like a Faraday bag. You don't have to do everything all at once. Just start with one thing, get comfortable with it, and then add another. And this isn't about being paranoid, it's about good digital hygiene. It's about recognizing that your personal data has value and that you have the right to control it. Privacy isn't about having something to hide, it's about having something to protect. The law is slowly starting to catch up, and landmark rulings from the Supreme Court on things like geofence warrants show that the tide can turn in our favor. But you are and will always be the first and last defense in your own privacy and security. You've been watching Uncle Sam Saves America, where national problems meet local solutions. Hit the like, subscribe, watch this playlist right here, and I'll see you in the next one.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.